In today's video I'm going to be making a complete techno track with all the sounds coming from Moog DFAM. And I have a new device to actually help the Moog DFAM, which is the DFAM Thing. Now this interesting little box is made by a gentleman in Australia, and what it basically does is take over control of the DFAM sequencer, allowing it to do things that weren't previously possible. So with the help of that little friend, let's see if the Moog DFAM has the chops to produce all the sounds that I need to create a hopefully good sounding techno track. So without further ado, let's create some sounds. First up, let's make a kick drum. I'm starting with a simple sequence, adjusting the pitch of a triangle wave and adding some pitch envelope here with the envelope amount and time, tweaking those until I get a good kick sound, and now tweaking the filter a little bit. This is the low pass, this is the high pass. I wanted to do this trick where you use a high pass and increase the resonance to add a low bump, but I forgot to add the resonance anyway. Here the DFAM thing comes in because it's playing a 4-step sequence, something that's impossible on the DFAM by its own. So I'm just going for very low notes here, triangle wave again, low 16th notes, quickly alternating with the low pass filter, closed mostly so we don't get too much high frequency content. And I'm just adjusting the pitches here, and that's it, done. Now for the main synth sequence, I'm using higher pitched notes, of course, playing with the decay time. So for the sub bass I used the slow attack time, and now I'm using the fast attack time. Adjusting the filter, you can hear 2 oscillators going here, and oscillator 2 is being modulated. That gives it this sort of metallic, resonant, metallic, dissonant sound. I'm using the same sound as the basis for a stab, back to a normal 8-step sequence, just adjusting the pitches and the decay time until I get something that is reasonably stabby. Quickly moving on to a noise rhythm. I actually started out here with the oscillators, trying to find a cool pitch sound. I tried some modulation here with the patch bay, and that sort of improved it. But in the end, I decided to go for a noisy sound because this all just wasn't really working out. It's a lot of experimentation before you find something that you like sometimes. Here I just decided to turn off the oscillators and just go with some noisy stuff, long decay time on the steps of the sequence to get this sort of constant noise sound. Next up, a shaker sound, for which I can use the noise sound that I had, but now with a shorter decay and with a long attack time. I'm making a 16th note pattern here with slightly different velocities, volumes per step, to get like a lively shaker sequence, and then it's a matter of adjusting the decay. Moving on to a hi-hat, just getting a shorter attack time, adjusting the decay, and instantly we have a decent hi-hat sound. That was easy. Now for a cymbal, using the hi-hat sound as a basis, a longer decay time, and adjusting the high pass filter here with more resonance gets us a ringing cymbal sound. A little bit more tweaking of the decay to get it just right, and that's the cymbal sound. Now I try to make a clap, and that is one of the more difficult things. So what I ended up doing is taking VCO1 out and using that to modulate the filter cutoff. You get this stuttering sound that is basically the clap simulating multiple people clapping at the same time, not clapping at exactly the same time. And I played with the frequency of VCO1 because that decides how fast the stutters are happening. High, mid, drone, so I used both oscillators to find an interesting harmonic sound, adjusting the filter here. Just adjusting the pitches to find something that sounds cool, hopefully. It's not really a drone right now, they're separate notes. But if I make the decay times longer, now you get a drone sound using the low pass filter. Now a similar thing for a low drone sound, again adjusting the pitches of the oscillators to find a sweet spot here in the sound. Not quite found it just yet. This is starting to sound better. And also lower, because I wanted to make a lower drone. And now we get this PWM type sound from the bouncing of the two square wave oscillators off each other. And of course I cannot resist playing with the low pass filter. Get this gorgeous Moog-like sound, which is not strange coming from a Moog, but this really sounds like a Moog. And the different velocities of the steps give it this pulsing character. Finally, a low tom sound. Now this is going to be very similar to the kick drum, just pitched higher. Again, I'm playing with the pitch envelope here, adjusting it until I get something that sounds sufficiently tom-like. Just one oscillator here, a triangle wave. Also adjusting the decay time to find something that sounds good. So one thing you may have noticed is that the screen of the DFAM Thing in this video wasn't actually legible. I'm planning to do another video showing off a little bit more of the capabilities of this interesting unit, and of course then you'll be able to see the screen and see what it does. But anyway, all the sounds are now recorded into live. Next up I'm going to put them all on separate tracks, do some basic mixing and prepare for the arrangement, which I'm going to record live using the Akai APC MIDI controller. Starting and stopping clips, controlling the mixer, effects, etc. I'm using the APC40 MIDI controller to launch clips and do automation of volume, send effects, in the effects racks, etc. Starting out with a group track where I've put the kick, the sub bass, the tom and the noise. They're all grouped together now, and on that group track I have a high pass filter which will come in handy for DJ style high pass breaks. So that's playing the first group track, and now I'm fading in the drones. I've actually grouped the low and high drones together, put a low pass filter on there so you only really hear the PWM style low drone now. This is the first short break that you just heard with the high pass filter, and now I'm introducing stab sound. Also running in the background is the main synth sequence, but that has a low pass filter on it. Opening up the low pass filter now, and here you can see the channel with the main sequence. I've put it in a simpler device. Actually all the sounds are in simpler devices, and I've automated the transpose function to get the right sounding notes. I had some trouble getting all the melodic sounds to work together because they were recorded in isolation. This is actually the second take of this track where I recorded the arrangement before I did the same thing, but the melodic sounds were differently pitched and didn't sound good together. Okay, slowly opening up the low pass filter here in the main synth sequence so you can hear that coming in. And also I added the shaker sound. I've used the slice function quite a bit here. It's a nice way to make a sequence, keep that sequence but have perfect timing, and you can also select which notes you want to play when. Adding the hi-hats and further opening up the low pass filter on the group track with the drones reveals the higher pitched drones that's slowly coming in now. And things are just chugging along. As you can see in the arrange view, the clips are being recorded, and in a few minutes time I'll have a complete arrangement with all the automation and everything done. filter on the first group channel. And there's my clap sound or crap sound. It's not the best clap sound, but that's one of the limitations of using an old-fashioned analog synth. It's a lot of fun though, making sounds on the DFAM. And I created a little sequence again with the clap sound in a simpler device and a MIDI clip. So it's all MIDI clips you're seeing here. I'm not recording any audio. You can hear the drone coming in more, the higher harmonics, the higher drone sound coming in. And again, a breakdown with the high pass filter on the first track. Hear the automation on the high pass filter is not very precise. I'm not turning it on and off, I'm actually controlling the frequency with a rotary dial. So it's quite imprecise, but that can always be cleaned up later. And as you can hear in this drop, I've added the cymbal sound. It's sounding a little bit one-dimensional, a little bit mono, but you can always, of course, make it more stereo with some effects or doubling up the sounds. Further opening up the low pass filter on the drones, feeling more of the higher drone, this sort of abrasive sound that we got going on here, which adds quite some tension. Here I did a breakdown where I just stopped all the clips on the first track instead of using the high pass filter. It's of course also a good way to do that. And now they're coming in again for what you could say is the final leg of this track. I've gotten rid of the cymbal sound that's not playing anymore in the meantime, but I'm going to start it again about now, I think. Just starting and stopping clips with the APC40. It's quite effective. High frequency content of the drone is diminished. I'm closing up the low pass filter and I'm doing the same thing on the main synth sequence here. So you hear less of the high frequencies, and that's all helping to wind down the track. Moving towards the end. Here I've gotten rid of the shaker sound. High pass on the kick and sub channel. And that is the final part of the track. Stopping all the clips. Right, and that's the whole track done. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like and consider subscribing to see more of these kinds of videos. In any case, thank you so much for watching if you've made it this far, and I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.